Alright guys, good morning first of all, and welcome to October. Today's adventure, I'm not really out ginseinging as much today as I am Bigfooting. I've come up to an area where I've been able to ride the four-wheeler a few times, and I found some tracks in the past, and I've actually found a handprint too. So what I'm going to do, we had some rain about a couple days ago, so I'm going to ride this road and see if I can find any tracks or anything like that. I may get out. I brought some extra gear. I brought my backpack, and I brought some casting material and things like that, you know, in case I do find any tracks. But I may get out and explore a little bit if I find something interesting. But my main plan today is to ride this road, and look, it's real wet and nasty out through here, so I'm gonna ride the road and look for tracks. There's several old mine openings through here, and like I say, I found tracks before. So today I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to take you along with me. So hang on. All right, guys, we're going to check around these some of these water holes for some tracks, and I see something that's kind of interesting already. Here's some bear tracks. Don't look like he's too big. You can see claws on that. I've seen where these bear tracks, leave out of it. I've seen where these bear tracks, see how they really look, their toes look very similar to Bigfoot and humans. I have seen where good researchers have been fooled by these, and I've seen some who tried to say that they were Bigfoot tracks, which they're not. They're bear tracks, black bear, very common in our area and most of the United States, really. But this seemed like this might have been the place. I can't remember. It's a little bit different now, where I found the foot tracks and the handprint. And this right here is an old turkey track. This here looks like a old coyote track. So it doesn't surprise me that there's a lot of game through here. Right back down this way just a little bit, there's a bunch of old auger holes and old openings, coal mine openings. So that gives them a great place to stay, and you know, for dens and things like that. Let's look through here a little bit more, and you can see where there has been four-wheelers through here in days gone by. But this has not traveled a whole big lot. When you go so far down this way, it's kind of, there's a slit in place, and it's kind of rough to get across. A lot of people don't want to go through it. I don't. It's a little bit dangerous, especially me by myself. So that's usually where I turn around at. I don't see any tracks here at this one, so I'll get back on the four-wheeler and I'll head on around. Ouch. I hear a woodpecker up in there. You hear him? Yep, woodpecker. I'm sure there's been researchers fooled by that too. And I know this time of year we have a lot of hickory nuts and stuff that are falling off the trees, and they'll fall and they'll hit another piece of wood or a limb that's hanging out, and if you ain't careful, it'll fool you for a second and make you think it's a tree knock. So I'm sure there's people who has had that happen and thought for sure they had a tree knock when maybe they really didn't. So all right, well, I'm gonna get on the four-wheeler and ride on around. Okay, I've arrived at another big swampy place, so I want to get out and check it as well. Still some frogs moving around. I don't see any tracks right through here. Maybe an old deer track or something. And there come one of those nuts down I was telling you about earlier. It falls. Also scares the crap out of you sometimes. There's an old big bear track. See that? Looks like it stepped right in its own foot track again. Oh, yeah, that's good. I broke that. All right, let's look right through here, maybe. Any area that can sustain a population of black bears. Well, in our instance, the black bear population is actually growing. We shouldn't have no trouble sustaining a Bigfoot. Oh, I walked into this cobweb. There's something kind of interesting right here. See that? It's kind of elongated, but it's wore out. It's hard to tell what it is. I don't see any other tracks, so. Well, sometimes it's just what it takes. You got to get out and look. So, with October being here, the temperatures are going to start cooling down, which we're not cool right now. We're in the 90s right now. So they'll be cooling down, and it makes it real nice to get out. The humidity's been so bad here the last few days. That looks like the potential. See this right here? Can you see that? That's a foot track of some sort. It looks more like it would be a heel of a shoe or something, though. I don't mean it wasn't a Bigfoot. Part of it's gone. Let's look over in here a little bit, maybe. I mean, you think if it's a person, they would have left another track here somewhere. Even if it's a Bigfoot, you'd think you would have. But I don't know. Well, we'll ride on around and see what we can find. All right, 10-4. All right, guys, I found another little, it's a pretty good area of water and stuff, so, but I was going to show you something. This here, this is a big elk track, where a big elk has walked through here. See where there's you see a little bit of it right there, then right there, and then on over here. So we do have elk in here. See right here's this. There's this track again. As you can tell, this area out here don't get traveled as much because there's not really a whole lot out this way as far as well, it's really chokes down out there and you can't get through, I guess is why. But most people ride the four-wheeler the other way, which there's a lot more area to ride in. So, all right, I just wanted to show you that elk track. Maybe I'll show you a little bit of the mountains. Might be able to show you this right here. Let me see. Yeah, this is something that you might find interesting. We definitely want to be careful though. This is what it looks like when they come through, and or at least how they used to do it. They auger the coal. They got a big machine that goes back in there and pumps all the coal out basically. And used to, back when it was real hard, people would go into these areas where they've done this, and they would chip them out some house coal to take home and burn to keep warm in the wintertime. And them go back in there a good long ways. And a lot of times they'll drill into an old coal mine, And so once you go through these, you actually go into a big coal mine that could go for miles and miles and miles. And that's big enough for about anything to live in. I know of one place where it was back under a big rock like that. It wasn't really coal, but it's back under a big rock like that, and they framed it up and made a little store up under it way back. It's probably back in the 50s and 60s. And they kept milking everything in there, and it kept it cool. But yeah, that's there's all kinds of area out through here like this that's got openings for things to get into. I mean, I'm sure bear, foxes, and everything else gets back in them. I know there's one that that's big enough they even actually ride their four-wheelers into it. But you see that little old black part through there? That's the coal. And that's what everybody's always interested in our part of the world. They don't care about the mountains. They don't care about the water. They don't care about the animals. And as a matter of fact, they don't even care about the people that live way down there, and on the road way down that way. They want the coal, and they will tear it all to pieces and destroy everything here to get it. And most of the time, they don't even employ people from our community. So that's what they're all after is the coal. And once all it's gone, which a lot of it is gone in our part of the country, once it's all gone, they won't care anything about this end of the world. And that's just my personal take on it, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't get off into that area, but that's what they're after. They're after the coal in these part of the mountains. They always did that, and sometimes they want our timber, which a lot of it's already been logged out. But that's what they're after is our coal, so they don't care what they have to destroy to get it. So, and I'm all for doing it right, but I think you ought to respect the land to some degree. But they would most likely when they do come back and get this little bit of coal that's left, they'll take this whole mountain off right here and push it over in this holler and get the coal, and that'll be it. But yeah, I want to get on the four-wheeler and ride on around, but I guess that's wanted to show you those areas where Bigfoot or bears or foxes or whatever could actually live back in there. Coons, raccoons. I just seen a story actually. I think it was in China. A guy had escaped from prison. He had pulling a life sentence in prison. He'd been missing for 17 years and they couldn't find him. And they'd got reports of him living in a cave. And they actually hiked to up to the area where reportedly he was supposed to be at, but they couldn't find anything. So a few years later, they used drones and scanned the area, and they found where he was actually staying because of the garbage and things like that piled out next to where the cave was. And they actually caught the guy. They said he was in bad shape where he'd been living in that cave for the last 17 years, not having food and stuff like that. But see, even people can live in them if we had to. All right, I'm gonna ride the four-wheeler on around. All right, guys, I guess that concludes the adventure for today. I'm kind of cutting it short. I got some errands to run. Just a few more things I want to tell you before I actually get off here. Here in southeastern Kentucky and the surrounding areas, we have some beautiful mountains. And I've often thought that I'd like to have the money to buy some of the land up. Some of it is actually for sale. And preserve it. And turn it into a place for everybody to enjoy. Instead of something that's potentially going to be destroyed. I know a lot of what I rode today is eventually going to be destroyed and done away with because they're going to get the coal again. They've already got several seams of coal through here, but they're going to come back and get the rest of it. Technology gets better, so they can get more of the coal that they left 20, 30, 40 years ago. But I often thought about if I had the money, I would like to buy some of this land up and preserve it. Our mountains are beautiful, and I enjoy being out in them. and I would encourage everyone else to get out into the mountains and enjoy them if you have them. But another thing I wanted to talk to you about a little bit was where I was riding these old strip roads looking for Bigfoot tracks. A conversation came up with a gentleman who does this quite often. He don't look for Bigfoot tracks necessarily. He just ride. He does a lot of four-wheeling. I don't know what that was. And anyways, the subject of Bigfoot came up to this fellow who four-wheels a lot, and the conversation was about the man was afraid that somebody was going to make fun of him over him seeing a Bigfoot. And the guy who four-wheels a lot, he said no, said I've seen way too many other tracks riding four-wheelers to ever make fun of anybody. So, and this person is a person you wouldn't think believed in Bigfoot. You wouldn't think he had even had any kind of interest in it, but he admitted that over years he's seen lots of tracks riding four-wheelers. So I guess he's a secret believer. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and cut the day short. I got some errands I got to run, some work I got to do this afternoon. We didn't find any Bigfoot tracks today, but we had some fun and killed a few, 2 or 3 hours. And it's time to go home now and make my trip to town and get some supplies and things I need to work on. So you guys be good, and thanks for watching the video. And I will be at Harlan Haunt Fest October the 5th. We got some more projects we're working on. Hopefully in 2020, we got a new Bigfoot film we're working on that should come out sometime in 2020, hopefully early in 2020. But I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.